Captain Rian Solis stared out of the observation window of the Aurora, the human starship that had carried him farther from Earth than any human before. The stars stretched endlessly, like silver dust scattered across black velvet. Every twinkle felt alive like distant eyes watching him. Humans had explored colonies in nearby systems, but Xiphora, a planet at the edge of known space, remained largely a mystery. Its surface was rich in resources, but more importantly, it was home to an intelligent civilization, unlike any humans had encountered. And now Rian had been sent not as a conqueror or traitor, but as a diplomat, a role he had trained for all his life. The mission was simple in theory: establish contact, understand Xiphoran society, and negotiate a treaty that could benefit both species. In practice, nothing was ever simple when dealing with alien civilizations. Xiphorans were known for their sophistication, their keen intellect, and their subtle ways of testing newcomers. Every gesture, every word, and even silence could carry meaning. Misunderstand one of their customs and a friendship could collapse into hostility. As the Aurora approached Xiphora's orbit, the planet unfolded below him like a living mosaic. Vast oceans shimmered with colors no human had ever named. Dense forests rose in layers of green, pierced by mountains that glowed faintly in the planet's bioluminescent twilight. Cities glimmered like crystal spires, reflecting light from the twin suns that bathed the planet in warmth. From space it seemed peaceful, almost too perfect, but Rian knew that appearances could be deceiving. "Captain, we are entering Xiphoran communication range," said Lieutenant Sarah, her voice calm but tinged with excitement. She was human like him but had grown up on the frontier world, so her eyes never missed a detail. "Understood," Rian replied. His fingers drummed lightly against the console. He felt the familiar tension before making first contact, the kind that came before a chess game where the pieces could talk back. A soft hum filled the cabin as Xiphoran signals reached them. Then a projection flickered into existence, forming a holographic figure that stepped forward with fluid grace. The Xiphoran ambassador, tall and elegant, with skin that shimmered faintly like moonlight on water, regarded Rian with curiosity. "Captain Solis," the ambassador spoke. The language was perfectly translated by the ship's universal translator, but there was a musical quality to the voice, as if the words themselves were art. "We have observed your approach. Xiphora welcomes you, though your presence is unusual among our people." Rian inclined his head respectfully. "I come in peace. My mission is to learn from your people, to understand your society, and to establish a partnership that benefits both Xiphorans and humans." The Xiphoran nodded slowly. "Your intentions are noted, but understand humans are unpredictable. Our people value intellect, courage, and creativity. You will need all three to navigate Xiphora." The meeting was brief, formal, and filled with subtle tests. Every question the ambassador asked seemed to measure more than knowledge. It measured intuition, ethics, and patience. Rian answered carefully, drawing on years of training in diplomacy, psychology, and human history. By the time the projection disappeared, he knew he had passed the first of many trials. The Aurora descended toward the planet, entering the lower atmosphere. The air was breathable, the gravity almost like Earth's. Xiphorans had designed landing zones with efficiency and elegance. Instead of towering structures for arrivals, the docks resembled gardens, where bioluminescent plants guided ships to secure landing pads. Rian stepped out onto solid ground, feeling the strange thrill of setting foot on a world entirely unknown. He was greeted by two Xiphorans, young by their species standards but already recognized as remarkable minds. One was Leora, sharp-eyed, calm, and analytical. The other, Vinna, exuded warmth and creativity with movements as fluid as the waves on Xiphora's oceans. Both bowed slightly to Rian, a gesture of respect. "You are Captain Solis," Leora said in clear, precise English, though with a lilting tone. "We have been assigned to accompany you. Our knowledge of Xiphoran culture and technology will assist you in understanding our people." Vinna stepped forward with a smile. "And I will help you see beyond knowledge, Captain. Understanding emotions, art, and intuition is just as important here. Humans often overlook these things." Rian studied them carefully. They were not rewards in the sense he had expected. He had been briefed that Xiphorans honored extraordinary individuals in unusual ways. These two were not possessions or companions in a personal sense. They were partners, guides, and the bridge to a world that humans could not yet comprehend. He realized quickly that accepting them meant responsibility, not leisure. "I am honored," Rian said sincerely. "Your guidance will be invaluable. Together, we can learn from each other and strengthen the bond between our species." The days that followed were filled with lessons and discoveries. Leora introduced Rian to Xiferan history, showing him archives of civilizations that had existed for millennia, far longer than humanity had been in space. She explained political systems that were complex, often seeming like puzzles. Each decision had layers of consequence, and Ryan realized that Xiferans valued foresight above all. Vinna, in contrast, took Ryan to galleries, theaters, and music halls. She encouraged him to interpret art not just by observation but by feeling, to connect with the ideas behind the creations. She explained that understanding a culture was not only about logic, but about empathy, perception, and imagination. Humans often relied on reasoning alone, but Xiphora taught Ryan that intuition could be equally powerful. Their lessons were interrupted by subtle tests from the Xiphoran Council. Messages arrived with conflicting reports about potential conflicts, some designed to confuse Rian. Each time, he relied not only on the information he received but also on his ability to read situations, to predict the motives of beings who were more advanced than humans in some ways but still not immune to emotion. One evening, as the twin suns set, painting the sky in shades of gold and violet, Ryan walked along a cliffside with Leora and Vinna. The air was crisp, filled with the scent of exotic flora. "Captain," Leora said softly, "you have proven that humans have a unique approach. You see patterns where others see chaos, and you adapt in ways Xiphorans sometimes overlook. This is why the Council offered you our assistance." Vinna nodded. "And this is why I'm here. Humans are unpredictable, yes, but that unpredictability can be a strength. You combine reason and emotion, and that combination can create solutions that neither Xiphorans nor humans could achieve alone." Ryan looked out at the horizon. He felt a mixture of awe and responsibility. The reward offered by the Council was not a gift in the ordinary sense. It was a challenge, a partnership that demanded trust, courage, and collaboration. He understood that accepting Leora and Vinna meant stepping fully into a role that could shape the future of human-Xiphoran relations. In the following days, Ryan accompanied the ambassadors to meetings with Xiphoran leaders. Witnessing a civilization that was highly organized yet rich in creativity, he observed debates that lasted for hours, where words were chosen carefully, gestures held meaning, and silence spoke as loudly as speech. Ryan's human perspective allowed him to see opportunities others missed. His suggestions, sometimes unconventional, impressed the Xiphorans. Yet despite the admiration, he also sensed underlying tension. There were factions within Xiphora who doubted humans could be trusted. Ryan realized that earning trust would not be simple. It required consistent integrity, courage, and cleverness, the very qualities humans had honed over centuries of survival on Earth. One evening, as the Aurora orbited Xiphora, Ryan reflected on the journey so far. He had expected to be tested, yes, but he had not expected the depth of learning required. Leora and Vinna were not mere guides. They were mirrors reflecting his strengths and weaknesses. Through them, he saw the best and worst of human qualities. And he understood that humanity's greatest potential lay in creativity, empathy, and resilience. The first part of his mission was ending, but the real challenge was only beginning. Somewhere within Xiphora's shimmering cities and deep forests, forces both friendly and hostile were watching, evaluating, and waiting. Rian knew that his decisions in the coming days could affect not only his own future, but the destiny of human and Xiphoran relations for generations to come. As the twin suns rose over Xiphora's horizon, painting the sky in brilliant hues, Ryan felt a spark of determination. Humanity had come far, but now it faced a test unlike any other. With Leora and Vinna by his side, he was ready. Not as a conqueror, not as a visitor, but as a human being capable of understanding, learning, and leading in a universe that was vast, beautiful, and full of unexpected challenges. And so, on a world where everything was new and strange, Captain Rian Solis took his first true steps as a bridge between species, guided by intelligence, intuition, and the promise of a partnership that could change the course of history. The morning on Xiphora began with a soft glow as the twin suns slowly climbed over the horizon. Their light fell on the city below, turning the crystal spires into rivers of gold and silver. Captain Rian Solis stood on a balcony overlooking the central plaza, where Zypherans moved with purpose, their steps graceful and precise. Leora and Vinna were beside him, silent for a moment as they watched their world come alive. "Captain," Leora began, her voice steady, "today, you will witness the council in session. It is an experience unlike any human assembly you have known. Decisions are made not only with reason but with consideration of long-term consequences and the well-being of all factions." "Watch carefully," Vinna smiled. "And remember, what you see is only the surface. Emotions, loyalties, and subtle signals are just as important as the spoken words. Humans often focus only on the words and miss what lies beneath." Ryan nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility again. He had seen the beauty of Zyphora, learned some of its history, and met its ambassadors, but understanding its politics was an entirely new challenge. Every move he made would be noted, every reaction studied. He had to prove that humans were capable of thinking and acting on levels that matched Zypheran expectations. The council chambers were vast, circular, and open to the sky. The walls shimmered with holographic displays showing maps, statistics, and archives of past events. Zypheran leaders, dressed in flowing robes of iridescent fabric, floated slightly above the floor, held aloft by subtle anti-gravity devices. They regarded Ryan with curiosity and caution. Captain Solis, one of the senior council members, spoke, his voice calm but powerful. "You have assisted our people in recent conflicts and have shown remarkable judgment. Yet the decisions you will witness today will test your understanding of our ways." Rian inclined his head respectfully. "I am ready to learn and to observe, honored counselor." The council discussed a series of disputes between different regions on Zyphora. Each argument seemed complex, layered with history, economic concerns, and cultural beliefs. Humans might have seen only black and white, but Zypherans operated in a spectrum of gray. Ryan listened carefully, taking notes in his mind and applying what he had learned from Leora and Vinna. At one point, a proposal was made that seemed unfair on the surface. Some council members argued that one region should yield resources to another, and tensions flared. Ryan felt the urge to intervene, but he remembered Vinna's words about subtlety. Instead, he asked a simple question that prompted the council to consider a different perspective, one that balanced both fairness and long-term sustainability. The council paused, evaluating his input. It was rare for an outsider to speak, and rarer still for them to be taken seriously. After a moment, the senior council member nodded slowly. "You see beyond the immediate. This quality is rare, even among our own people." Leora gave him a small, approving glance. Vinna's smile widened. Rian felt a quiet pride, tempered with awareness that this was only one step on a long journey. After the council session, the three of them walked through the city toward a research complex. Zyphora was known for its advanced technology, some of which humans had never seen. Ryan was eager to learn, not as a visitor, but as someone who could contribute. Inside the complex, Leora led him through corridors lined with glowing panels and machines that hummed with energy. She explained the principles of Zypheran science and engineering, showing how they had harnessed the planet's natural resources without damaging the ecosystem. Ryan marveled at the efficiency and elegance of it all. "This is impressive," Ryan said, watching a display of energy flows through the city. "Your people have achieved harmony between technology and nature that we have not yet managed on Earth." Leora nodded. "It has taken centuries, and even now balance is delicate. Humans can bring a fresh perspective. Your adaptability and resourcefulness are valuable, Captain." Vinna led him to a separate hall where holographic art filled the space. The images moved, changing with the observer's gaze. She encouraged him to interpret the emotions behind each piece. Ryan struggled at first, focusing on colors and shapes rather than feelings. Vinna guided him gently, teaching him to sense intention, creativity, and the story behind each creation. "You see, Captain," she said softly, "understanding a people is not just about their history or their logic. It is about empathy. You must feel the motivations that drive them just as much as you understand their actions." Rian took a deep breath. Slowly, he began to perceive subtle patterns. The choice of colors, the flow of movement, even the pauses in the imagery. Each piece told a story, and he realized that Zypheran communication was often indirect, relying on layers of meaning rather than direct statements. Their lessons were interrupted by a series of urgent communications. Reports indicated a new challenge. A group of Zephoran rebels in a remote region had rejected the Council's authority and were threatening to disrupt trade routes. The situation was delicate. A human diplomat intervening could be seen as overreach or disrespect. Rian and the ambassadors traveled to the region, arriving at a settlement perched on the cliffs overlooking a deep canyon. The rebels were tense, wary of outsiders. Rian approached with calm authority, speaking to their leaders with respect, acknowledging their concerns, and offering solutions that combined logic with fairness. He proposed a compromise that involved resource sharing and cooperative projects, while also recognizing the rebels' autonomy in certain matters. Leora and Vinna assisted by translating subtle cultural nuances, helping the rebels see that Ryan's intentions were genuine. The negotiations were tense, stretching through the day and into the night. At one point, it seemed that talks would break down. Ryan paused, taking a moment to consider what he had learned from both ambassadors. Then he suggested a creative solution, a shared festival celebrating both the local and central cultures, with opportunities for trade, art, and storytelling. The rebels hesitated, then slowly agreed. It was a small victory but significant. Ryan realized that human intuition, combined with Zephoran knowledge, could solve problems that seemed impossible. As the group returned to the capital, Ryan reflected on the day. His admiration for Leora and Vinna grew. They were not just guides. They were partners who challenged him to think, to feel, and to act beyond human conventions. Their presence was a reminder that he was not alone, and that human qualities, creativity, empathy, adaptability, could thrive even in alien environments. That night, Ryan stood on the balcony of his temporary quarters looking up at the stars. The twin moons of Zephora hung low in the sky, casting soft silver light over the city. Leora joined him silently, her gaze fixed on the horizon. "You have done well today," she said. "But remember, this is only the beginning. The challenges you face will grow, and the Council will test you further. You must continue to learn, adapt, and demonstrate that humans can be trusted allies." Vinna appeared moments later, carrying a small device that projected soft, flowing images in the air. "And remember, Captain, even in challenges there is beauty. Observe, understand, and respond with both mind and heart. That is what sets humans apart." Rian nodded, feeling a mix of pride and humility. He had come to Zephora expecting to learn, but he was discovering more than knowledge. He was discovering the potential of humanity itself. In a universe filled with intelligent species, humans had unique qualities that could make them not just survivors, but leaders, innovators, and peacemakers. The following days brought more lessons, tests, and minor crises. Ryan worked alongside Leora and Vinna to solve logistical problems, navigate political disputes, and assist in cultural exchanges. Every situation tested his creativity and judgment. Sometimes his human perspective offered unexpected solutions. Other times, the Zephoran's advanced methods revealed blind spots in his understanding. Through it all, he noticed a pattern. While Zephorans valued precision and planning, humans had an advantage in adaptability. Where others saw rigid systems, humans saw possibilities. Where others hesitated, humans improvised. And where others relied solely on intellect, humans could combine emotion, intuition, and reason into a single, decisive approach. By the end of the week, Rian had earned recognition not only from the Council but from the people he had helped directly. Zephrans who had doubted humans began to see value in collaboration. Leora and Vinna remained by his side, guiding him, teaching him, and learning from him in return. One evening, as the city lights reflected in the calm waters of a nearby river, Ryan realized that the reward offered by the Council, the guidance of Leora and Vinna, was far more valuable than any treasure. Knowledge, insight, and partnership were the true rewards, and through them, he had begun to bridge the gap between human and Zephoran understanding. He understood now that the mission was not simply about diplomacy. It was about demonstrating that humans could rise to challenges with courage, wisdom, and ingenuity. Zephora was only the beginning. And so, as the twin moons reflected in his eyes, Ryan Solis prepared for the trials ahead. He was no longer just a visitor on Zephora. He was a representative of humanity, standing at the edge of the unknown, guided by two brilliant Zephoran ambassadors and a belief that humans, though why, The calm days on Zephora were not meant to last. Captain Rian Solis woke to an unusual vibration running through the floor of his quarters. The twin suns had just risen, spilling soft gold and violet across the city, but there was a tension in the air that he could feel instinctively. Outside, Vinna was already at the observation deck, her expression serious. Leora arrived moments later, her usual composure tight with concern. "What is it?" Ryan asked, moving quickly to join them. Vinna pointed toward the horizon. "Ships, unidentified ships. They are approaching Zephora at high speed." "Not ours," Ryan's heart raced. He had known the mission would include challenges, but an attack was unexpected. He studied the holographic projection that Leora had activated. The fleet was massive, sleek, and advanced. It did not belong to any of Zephora's known neighboring civilizations. The alien vessels moved with precision, coordinated patterns that suggested a species experienced in warfare. "They are Kryn," Leora said quietly, almost to herself. "A species that considers humans weak. They have been monitoring Zephora and have now decided to strike." Rian felt a cold edge of determination. Humanity had faced threats before, but this was different. This was not about diplomacy or negotiation. It was about survival, strategy, and using every resource and skill at their disposal. He looked at the two Zephyrans beside him. They were his guides, yes, but now they were partners in defense. The responsibility weighed heavily on his shoulders. The council was summoned immediately. Ryan, Leora, and Vinna joined the assembly. Zephyran leaders discussed options in calm, measured tones, but Ryan could sense the fear beneath the surface. The Kryn were formidable. Many of the Zephyrans' advanced defenses could repel minor threats, but a direct assault by this fleet could devastate cities and destabilize the planet. "We need a strategy," Ryan said firmly. "We cannot fight them head-on. We must use intelligence, creativity, and speed. Humans have a strength you might underestimate: adaptability." A senior council member looked at him with curiosity. "You would risk lives by relying on improvisation?" "Not risk lives," Ryan replied, "but maximize our advantage. I have an idea that requires coordination between us, using both Zephyran technology and human tactics." Leora and Vinna exchanged a glance. Both had already anticipated Rian's approach. "We will help you," Leora said. "Your ideas will need our knowledge to succeed." Vinna nodded. "And I will help anticipate their behavior. They are logical, yes, but they underestimate unpredictability, something humans excel at." Over the next hours, Rian worked tirelessly with the ambassadors. They developed a plan that combined defensive measures, misdirection, and strategic strikes. They would not confront the Kryn fleet directly. Instead, they would lure part of the fleet into traps using decoy energy signals, block key communication channels, and exploit Zephora's geography to their advantage. Ryan's approach relied heavily on prediction and improvisation. He studied the Kryn attack patterns and anticipated their reactions to various defenses. Leora helped refine the plan, adding Zephyran technology that could disrupt the Kryn ship's energy shields. Vinna focused on morale, ensuring that the civilians and soldiers remained calm and cooperative during the tense hours before the attack. When the Kryn fleet finally entered Zephyran space, Ryan felt the full weight of the moment. Tens of massive ships moved like predators, their dark hulls absorbing the light of the suns. On the surface, alarms rang across the cities. Citizens looked up in fear and awe, but Ryan remained focused. Panic was dangerous. Clarity and precision would save lives. "Remember," he told Leora and Vinna, "this is not just about firepower. It is about strategy. We can outthink them, outmaneuver them, and survive. Trust in what we have prepared." The battle began with controlled chaos. Zephyran energy shields activated across key cities, while decoy signals sent part of the Kryn fleet on a false course. Ryan and the ambassadors monitored every movement, adjusting the strategy in real time. Some Zephyran leaders were skeptical, questioning the humans' unconventional tactics, but they had no choice but to trust the combined approach. As predicted, the Kryn pursued the decoys. Ryan anticipated their maneuvers and ordered Zephyran forces to strike at critical points, disabling key engines and splitting the fleet into smaller, more manageable groups. Leora's technical expertise allowed the human captain to exploit weaknesses in the Kryn energy grids. Vinna's insight into alien psychology helped predict the Kryn's hesitation and overconfidence, giving the defenders an edge. The battle was fierce, Bright flashes lit the sky as ships collided, and powerful energy beams struck the planet's surface at a distance from populated areas. Civilian areas remained protected by shields thanks to careful planning. Ryan moved quickly, issuing orders, predicting the enemy's moves, and adjusting strategies. His mind worked faster than any algorithm or computer. He relied not only on intelligence but also on intuition, a human skill the Kryn had not anticipated. Hours passed like minutes. The Kryn began to falter, confused by the unpredictable tactics. Some ships became isolated, others trapped in energy nets. Ryan directed Scifi forces to target the weakest points, neutralizing the fleet without excessive destruction. By the time the suns were setting, the remaining Kryn forces were retreating, their morale broken. Zephora had survived. Exhausted but exhilarated, Ryan and the ambassadors watched the aftermath. Zephoran ships had been damaged, but cities and civilians were safe. The council hailed Ryan's strategy as brilliant, praising both his human ingenuity and the combined efforts with Leora and Vinna. "You have proven humans are not weak," the senior council member said, voice filled with respect. "Your unpredictability and creativity were key. Zephora owes you gratitude." Leora smiled at him, her eyes reflecting pride and relief. "You did more than survive, Captain. You saved lives and demonstrated that humans can contribute in ways Zephorans cannot. This is why the council trusted you." Vinna placed a hand lightly on his shoulder. "And remember, this is only the beginning. The Kryn will remember this defeat, but so will the rest of the galaxy. Humans are no longer to be underestimated." Rian felt a mix of relief, pride, and renewed determination. He had faced danger far from Earth and had succeeded not through strength alone but through cleverness, insight, and partnership. Leora and Vinna had been indispensable, their knowledge and perspective amplifying his human abilities. Together they had achieved what neither could alone. That night the city celebrated quietly. The Zephyrans understood the importance of balance. There was relief, gratitude, and reflection, but also a readiness to prepare for future challenges. Ryan walked through the streets with Leora and Vinna, observing the people who had once doubted humans now looking at him with respect. "Humans are unpredictable," Leora said thoughtfully, "but that unpredictability can be a great strength. You remind us that flexibility and courage are as important as knowledge and planning." Vinna added, "And you remind us that sometimes the best solutions come from seeing the world in a new way." "That is the human advantage," Ryan smiled. "I have learned as much from you as you have from me. Together we can face whatever comes next." The next days were filled with reconstruction, strategy sessions, and deeper lessons. Ryan began to understand Zephyran culture more fully, not only its achievements but its vulnerabilities. He realized that humans, though younger in the galaxy, had qualities that could complement any civilization: adaptability, creativity, courage, and empathy. These were qualities that no technology or millennia of experience could replace. As the twin moons rose again, casting silver light over Zephora's calm waters, Ryan reflected on the events. The Kryn attack had been a test, not only of human ingenuity but also of the partnership between species. He had demonstrated that humans could not only survive in alien worlds, but could also protect, adapt, and lead when necessary. Leora and Vinna joined him on the balcony, silent for a moment as they watched the city glow beneath the moons. "You have proven much, Captain," Leora said softly. "But remember, the galaxy is vast. There are challenges we cannot yet see. Your journey has only begun." Vinna's eyes sparkled with quiet excitement. "And wherever it leads, we will face it together." "Humans have a place in this universe, Captain. You have shown it today." Ryan took a deep breath, feeling both the weight and the promise of responsibility. He had come to Zephora to learn and to represent humanity. He had faced danger, diplomacy, and the unknown. He had succeeded not because of force alone, but because of human qualities that no other species could replicate. And now, as the moons reflected in his eyes, he understood the truth. Humanity's future in the stars depended not on strength alone, but on courage, creativity, and the ability to see beyond the expected. With Leora and Vinna by his side, he was ready for whatever lay ahead. The adventure was far from over. The days following the Kryn attack were both tense and hopeful. Captain Rian Solis walked through the streets of Zephora's capital with Leora and Vinna, observing citizens going about their daily lives. Repairs were underway on the damaged infrastructure, but the atmosphere was calm, almost peaceful, a testament to the effective coordination between the human captain and Xiferan leaders. Ryan had earned respect not only through strategy, but also by showing patience, empathy, and a willingness to learn from Zephora's people. The council summoned him again, this time for a different reason. The Kryn threat had been repelled, but their presence in the galaxy signaled larger dangers. The council wanted to propose an alliance with humans, not only as trusted partners but as active participants in interstellar security and exploration. Ryan understood the magnitude of the moment. Humans, still a relatively young species in space, were being recognized as capable and reliable allies. Captain Solus, the senior counselor, began. Your actions have proven that humans possess qualities valuable to all civilizations. You are adaptable, creative, and courageous. Xiphora wishes to formalize a partnership. We hope you will represent humanity in this new era. Ryan bowed respectfully. I am honored. Humanity seeks to learn, to contribute, and to protect. This alliance will benefit both our peoples and strengthen the galaxy against future threats. Leora and Vinna watched with quiet pride. Their guidance had been crucial, but Ryan had emerged as a leader in his own right. He realized that the council's offer was more than recognition. It was an invitation to shape the future. Humans could no longer be seen as inexperienced or limited. Their ingenuity, perspective, and resilience had proven their worth. The next challenge came quickly. Reports arrived from the outer systems. Other civilizations had observed the Kryn fleet's defeat and were curious, cautious, and in some cases, suspicious. Ryan, Leora, and Vinna were tasked with leading a delegation to these worlds, to build trust, and to establish relationships that would strengthen the new alliance. Traveling aboard the Aurora, the human starship now fitted with Xiferan technology, they moved with speed and precision. Alongside Ryan, Leora and Vinna served as guides, diplomats, and translators, helping him navigate the customs, languages, and expectations of various alien species. Each new world offered lessons, challenges, and opportunities to demonstrate humanity's unique strengths. On one planet, Ryan observed a civilization struggling with a crisis in resource management. The leaders were intelligent, capable, and proud, but they had reached an impasse. Ryan suggested a solution that combined human improvisation with Xiferan efficiency. By proposing a rotational resource-sharing system and introducing alternative energy sources adapted from Xiferan technology, he helped prevent famine and civil unrest. The leaders were astonished by the practicality and effectiveness of the solution. On another planet, the challenges were not technical, but cultural. Ryan attended gatherings where diplomatic etiquette was complex, and social rules could mean the difference between peace and hostility. Leora guided him through logical reasoning and protocol, while Vinna taught him to sense subtle emotional cues and adapt his behavior accordingly. Together they formed a team that balanced logic, intuition, and creativity. As their journey continued, word of Ryan's success spread. Humans became known not for raw strength or weapons, but for their ingenuity, flexibility, and courage. Across multiple star systems, leaders began to view humanity as an ally to be trusted, capable of contributing solutions where other species might fail. Ryan realized that this was the true measure of humanity, the ability to think beyond immediate threats, to adapt, and to lead through understanding rather than force. The trio returned to Zephora to find the planet thriving. The council welcomed them warmly, acknowledging that Ryan had done more than just protect the planet. He had strengthened humanity's position in the galaxy. The success was not due to chance. It was the result of collaboration, careful planning, and the human qualities of observation, empathy, and creativity. One evening, standing on the balcony of his quarters, Ryan watched the twin moons rise over the city. Leora joined him silently, her expression thoughtful. "You have achieved what few could, Captain," she said. "Humans often underestimate their own potential. You have shown that adaptability and courage can match intellect and tradition." Vinna appeared moments later, carrying a small holographic device that displayed images of distant stars and planets. "And this is only the beginning," she said softly. "The galaxy is vast and many challenges remain, but now humans are no longer outsiders. They are partners, and you have shown them the way." Ryan nodded, feeling the full weight of responsibility. The Kryn threat had been only one challenge. The universe was full of unknown dangers, rival civilizations, and opportunities for cooperation. Humanity had a place not by force or conquest, but by demonstrating the qualities that made them distinct: creativity, empathy, adaptability, and courage. As the nights passed, Ryan, Leora, and Vinna worked to establish permanent liaison offices across the Alliance. Humans would train with Zephrans, exchange knowledge, and share technology. The partnership was formalized in ceremonies that celebrated collaboration and mutual respect. Ryan watched as human and Zephyran citizens mingled, sharing ideas, stories, and skills. The future, once uncertain, now held promise, yet Ryan knew that vigilance was necessary. The Kryn might return, other civilizations could test boundaries, and the vastness of space held countless unknown threats. But he also understood that humans were not alone. Guided by the lessons of Zephora, and supported by allies like Leora and Vinna, humanity could rise to meet these challenges. One morning, Ryan led an expedition to a distant star system that had long been unexplored. The journey was quiet but filled with anticipation. As the stars streaked past the observation windows, he reflected on how far humanity had come. From a single planet, small and fragile, to a species now respected across multiple worlds. The potential was limitless. Leora spoke from her station beside him. "You have changed more than the galaxy has changed you, Captain. You have shown that humans can lead, not by dominating, but by understanding, adapting, and inspiring others." Vinna added, "And that is the essence of your strength. You see opportunities where others see obstacles. You balance reason and emotion. You adapt. These are qualities that cannot be measured by technology or numbers alone." Ryan felt a quiet smile. "Then our work is far from over. There will always be challenges, but we will face them. Humanity will face them. And together we will continue to learn, grow, and thrive." The expedition continued, and as the Aurora moved through uncharted space, Ryan realized something profound. Humans, though still young among the stars, had a gift that no other species possessed fully: the combination of creativity, empathy, and courage. These qualities allowed them to navigate uncertainty, adapt to new situations, and build bridges across differences. Leora and Vinna were more than guides. They were partners, mirrors reflecting the best of human potential while sharing the wisdom of Zephora. Together they were a team that demonstrated the power of collaboration between species. As the stars stretched endlessly beyond the ship, Ryan Solis felt a sense of purpose deeper than anything he had known on Earth. Humanity had a role to play in the galaxy, not through dominance or violence, but through intelligence, creativity, and heart. He was a captain, yes, but also a bridge, a teacher, a student, and a representative of his species. The universe was vast, unpredictable, and sometimes dangerous, but Ryan was ready. With Leora and Vinna by his side, he knew that humans could face any challenge, overcome any obstacle, and build a future where species work together rather than against one another. The mission that began as diplomacy had become something far greater. It was a testament to human potential, a story of courage, ingenuity, and the ability to rise above fear and uncertainty. Ryan looked out at the stars and felt a spark of hope, a certainty that humans, though small and young, could achieve greatness among the stars. And so, under the twin moons of Zephora, as the galaxy stretched in infinite possibility, Captain Ryan Solis and his companions prepared to continue their journey. Not as conquerors, not as intruders, but as humans first, innovators, explorers, and peacemakers in a universe waiting to be understood. The adventure was far from over, but humanity's place among the stars had been secured, and Ryan knew that the future would be written not by fear, but by courage, wisdom, and the endless potential of the human spirit.